Welcome back to the 99, where we're focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, and this is the Brewmaster, where we perfect the list of our Patreon Brewmaster members. I say perfect very loosely here. Most of our Brewmasters are fantastic players. Anyone who decides to be a Patreon on the 99 is likely top class cEDH. However, we may still have a few struggles here or there, and or conceptually want to do something with the deck and haven't felt like we got there. It doesn't matter. If you're pledging at this level, you get to see your deck featured on the show and potentially on a future Brew War. That would be really fun. Or at least that's a hope for this particular program. But guys, you don't need to be a Patreon member to enjoy this particular range of content. If you just want to see and help fine-tune decks, then this is going to be a fun process for all of us. If you guys don't know how this shakes out, because of course you wouldn't, there's nothing in the description to say how this will work. I ultimately am going to be working on the one of three list for 40 minutes each, so that'll roughly make out the 2-hour time frame of our typical Tuesday live stream. And as per usual, I'll probably run over time because I get caught up having fun with whatever the deck is. But also, if you're new, I have to check my phone to see that everyone's here and engage in the comments. So if I don't immediately see a comment you sent my way or a super chat or anything of that nature, give me a second. I'll get to you, I promise. Also, guys, if you want to input as we go along, the live chat's the best way to do so. I try to field questions as we go through the deck making process and work through any sort of questions you might have on the deck list we're working on, and or strategies or whatever might come up. Also, we can just chat about whatever the hell we want. Anyone watching Great British Pottery Making? Is that what it's called? I just got turned on to this pottery making show on HBO, and it's really good. I'm gonna do some pottery now. I think that's the next YouTube endeavor. I'm gonna be making pottery live, which would actually be kind of cool. Some Chandra mugs. Would that be cool? Would you want that? All right, anyway. Evening Storm. And 11 p.m. managed to stay up for the episode. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm excited for this one. It should be good. Again, we have three lists we're taking in today. This is for our Brew Masters. So if they're not watching this now, well then you can skip like to the 40-minute increment to see where your deck pops up. And obviously the decks featured in this episode are in the title of this video. So to start, we're going to take a gander at Gavi, Nest Warden. And heads up, all the lists featured today happen to be in blue. So you know I'm excited. But I've got ideas. I've got ideas for blue that could be helpful. We'll see. I helped one list out already, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But the first list today is David's deck. This is Gavi Nest Warden, a legendary creature, human shaman. It is 2 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white. So 5 mana value total. 2/5 body. A mother's love transcends species. Why would it say that? You may pay 0 rather than pay the cycling cost of the first card you cycle each turn. Seems gimmicky, seems fun. How many cycling cards are there? We'll soon find out. And do note that everyone's given me a prompt of what they would like to see with the list. There's only one list that was suggested that needs to be built from scratch. So that's going to be fun. And it's blue. Every list. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 red and white dinosaur cat creature token. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can do this off turn. If you are managing drawing 2 cards every turn, you can make 4 of these 2/2 Boros cat creatures. Dinosaur cats, I should say. So is that inherently good? It can be. Gavi is an interesting legendary to begin with. And I guess we should go over David's quote to get to the slight specificity with the list here. Gavi Nest Warden. Get a value engine online, wipe out lands, win with the cutest tokens in MTG. So we have the goal. Value engine, likely one of these slide effects, right? The astral drift, the slide. These seem like value engines. I put it in the title just because. And we briefly spoke on this. That seemed like the primary goal, something that works in tandem with Gavi. Obviously, wipe out lands. And I already see we're missing some mass land destruction, so we can likely add more. Decree of Annihilation was sort of the big one, and that's already here. And then cat token generation. That's pretty self-explanatory. Gavi does that herself. Now, what's important to note is this is a copied variant of David's list. So we're going to be fine-tuning what we have here. This isn't necessarily David's list. David, if you're watching this, I'll encourage you to copy this and try it out for yourself. Of course, if you guys want to follow along and test this list, I'm going to leave it in the comments of this video, the live chat. But I also think I left it in the description. So if you want to see this list right now, you can go into the description of this video to follow along. But I'm going to leave it in the live stream chat for you following along right now that don't want to be bothered by hitting Windows. So it's there for you. All blue is best blue. Is that true? Is that a fact? All right, so Gavi Nest Warden. The first thing I want to do while we take this in is, one, we're going to try to incorporate these 3 win conditions. You know, killing people with cats is difficult. I very much doubt that there are a lot of mass buffs in this list. I haven't really given it that much of a gander. I see Archaeomancer. And Archaeomancer is a combo card, but I'm uncertain we're using anything to combo with it. So let's just go ahead and live edit this first. And I'm going to remove cards that I feel don't inherently work well for this strategy, right? So mass land destruction, we're probably going to want to add more mass land destruction. I saw a handful of planeswalkers there, and man, you're going to have, okay, so planeswalkers are tricky because, one, unless they're like Tevesh and make their own blockers, to generate their own blockers, you definitely need to be laying down creatures, and there didn't seem to be that many creatures. So we'll see if we can protect these planeswalkers. In an ideal world, we'll be destroying all the lands and maybe all the creatures, or have, you know, board wipes that do less than 5 damage so we can keep Gavi around, right? Where is she? Right here. She's a 2/5. So long as we keep her around, I think we'll be in good shape. We'll add that. And lastly, kill them with cats. So I noticed something a little alarming. Isn't Brainstorm like a good card? I mean, wait up. So my thing is, there you go. Draw 3 cards, instant speed. Doesn't Gavi read each turn? So you don't need to do this on your turn. Obviously, if you don't know how cycle works, cycle is literally just a keyword on certain cards, some with additive benefits like Decree of Annihilation. Most of the cycling cards just say discard this card, draw a card. And or you have special cyclers, Vidalcan Ether Mage is right there. It says wizard cycling, there's basic land cycling, there's a variety of different cycling cards. I don't know if cycling's even evergreen, but it's come about a handful of times. So we're going to research all of the cycling cards to see what functions well here and cut the chaff, which we're going to start with now. But Brainstorm, immediately I'm thinking we should probably add Brainstorm because we want card quality. Also, I notice we're not really artifact heavy, and if we're breaking all the lands, we probably want our own mana base by way of artifacts. So we're going to want to change the makeup here to make it efficient still, even if you are Decree of Annihilation blowing up all the lands. Okay, because you do need backup, because in response, if someone just shits on your Gavi, just destroys her with something, then, you know, you're left in a really bad spot, likely without mana. And hopefully you've dropped one of these value manders. I'm not even sure which ones they are. So this is more of a, each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. That's right. So if you're playing Gavi, you're screwed. Teferi Master of Time's really cute. This is good for just, it's good card quality. I don't know if Teferi's amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen a lot of people playing it and enjoying it. And of course we'll test it, but if it doesn't check out, I'll probably remove it. But let's start. There's so many thoughts, as you can see. I don't even know if 40 minutes is enough time, but let's just get to cutting some stuff. Hopefully my rambling there was useful for you all. But yeah, just immediately thinking of Gavi, I probably want things that say draw card on them beyond cyclers, because we're not going to rely on cycling to do all of our drawing, are we? And if we do that, then we're really pigeonholing ourselves, because then you're going to have cards like Slice and Dice that aren't always going to be immediately playable. So when you cycle Slice and Dice, you may have to deal 1 damage to each creature. So it's like a very expensive Electrickery. Man, I'm not even a fan of this. it's 6 mana to do. It's not like the list is relying on ad nauseum, but mind you, Slice and Dice, there's got to be better cyclers. Let's just go ahead and look over the cycle. We'll just say this, because there are different things that impact cycling, and let's just give ourselves the colors we need. Now, what I'm not going to do with this list is turn it into a Brain Freeze Breach combo deck. That's clearly not what David's going for here. And if you want to go for an Underworld Breach list, there's probably tons of better legendaries for this. So we'll play to Gavi's strengths with this build today. Conspiracy Theorist work in this list. I didn't even look at that shit. Conspiracy Theorist, is it a creature? Because I'm not immediately seeing it. Well, I want to look over those first. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 1, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. That's kind of cute, right? That sort of plays into Gavi's ability immediately. It's not hasty, but whatever. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, okay, so cycling. 1 or more non-land cards, mind you. You may exile 1 of them from your graveyard. Oh, if you do, you may cast it this turn. So you still have to pay the mana cost, and if it's something like Slice and Dice, well, hell no, we're not going to be paying that anytime soon, right? Especially if we're blowing up all the lands. That just doesn't seem like a good cycler to me. I think the bulk of your cycling cards are going to be reduced down to... Is Archaeomancer just to retrieve cycling cards? Hold up. Is Archaeomancer going to combo with a cycling card that bounces a creature and nets you mana? Is there a cycling card that bounces multiple creatures and then you can do Gavi infinitely with like added benefit? Is that the idea? Let's look through. I don't think Slice and Dice is the card, though. We're going to keep Decree of Annihilation. We're going to add Ravages of War. Sweltering Heat allows you to cycle it, or it does 3 damage to each creature. This is quite good. Gavi is safe. The rest of our board, maybe not so much. It kills our Draneth Magistrate, kills our Dockside Extortionist, which isn't the end of the world. We're probably just using that for a quick ramp and mana. Killing our Spellseeker, we're not going to have very many bodies if we do a lot of mass board wipes. But, mind you, if we're trying to rely on Planeswalkers to get the job done, then, you know, maybe we'll be okay. I was thinking there might be some synergy there. Yeah, I get that. Conspiracy Theorist makes sense for the list. I'm not sure it's going to be deemed worthy for a spot. However, yeah, at least this is here. Tectonic Reformation, something to provide extra value for our cyclers. And we've got some stacks going on here, too, so... Clearly, we're trying to have a slower game with this list. I like this reconnaissance mission as well. That's actually kind of cool. We might want to research very quickly cards that say discard on them, just because there's a little bit more value there. I'm not a huge fan of Vandal Blast. I'm going to get rid of that right now. And I'm probably going to put you on something better, like a Meltdown. I mean, how many 0? Okay, you can get away with a Meltdown in this list. And you probably do Shattering Spree instead of Vandal Blast. Mind you, the cost to me is prohibitive. I don't really like Vandal Blast. Actually, I like Vandal Blast more than I like Bioforce in this particular setup. So we'll just get rid of that. I'm going to assume, because I don't have time for everything, but I'm going to assume that the mana base is ideal. Just an assumption. You know, actually, let's just look at... Do we have dual lands in here? What do we got in here? Okay, cycling lands, irrigated farmland. Sure, that makes sense. Are there more cycling lands? This is cycling land, right? The Triome. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Radiant Judgment. Okay, let's start from the back here. Deem Worthy. This sounds like a cycling card. Okay. When you cycle Deem Worthy, it deals 2 damage to target creature. This just feels like an excuse to play a cycling card, not necessarily a good cycling card, right? Just because it says cycling doesn't mean we need to run it. Is that fair? I think that's fair. Okay. Well, I mean, we have a lot of things to kill things. Is the concept... Okay, is the concept to just get Gavi down and then cycle kill all of the immediate threats? Because you can... First card you cycle each turn. Oh, damn it. Okay. I mean, this is just too cute. I think between the two, this is probably the lesser, right? Whenever you cycle Solar Blast, you may have it deal 1 damage to target creature or player. I want to say that Deem Worthy is likely better than Solar Blast. If we're going to just have this as like the free cycle per turn, then fine. Deem Worthy is fine. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. This just isn't good, right? Because you get to cycle it for free, but it's just like, it's like a worse Anya Falconwrath. Do you know what I'm saying? With the Madness cards, untapping her, going through your list. If there isn't a benefit on the tail end of the card, I'm going to say that it's not very good so far as cycling is concerned. And shit, this is 6 mana and only does 1 damage to each creature. But I mean, we're getting rid of most of our board state as well. That just doesn't feel like a fair shake. Carrying on. Remove target enchantment card from the graveyard. Another excuse to use cycling, I guess. I don't know. I feel like Brainstorm's better than that, right? And you're going to be able to do Brainstorm sooner than you would Gavi, right? Cycling with Gavi is contingent on Gavi being down. That's really not always going to be the case. I think we're very hopeful here, and I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm going to get rid of this Starstorm. Again, this is a good cycling card. We can leave Shredded Sails because it has value outside of the fact that it does cycling. But some of these, like Starstorm, I'm not really impressed with. I'd rather you just use, what is it, Roiling Earthquake, or there's a couple of X spells that cost less and do more. I get that Starstorm has cycling on it, but I'm not interested. Mage's Guile. Target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. Yeah, this is like odd value because one, it's protection for you, but it's almost like Vines of Vastwood where Mage's Guile also allows you so that your opponents can't interact with a particular creature. So like if you see someone putting down, okay, so it says spell or ability this turn, right? So it's target of a spell or ability this turn. And someone casts their Godo, does the Hammer of Nazan, gets the Helm of the Host, you can say, that creature can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. And the ability of Hammer of Nazan, or rather, the ability Helm of the Host, Hammer of Nazan, it targets, right? It has to target. You may attach to target creature you control. Whew. Okay, I'm not just blowing smoke out my ass. Yeah, you could stop something like that. That's kind of cute, right? Like you can stop a Godo from winning, or you can stop someone from doing something with their creature if it's meaningful in some way. Just mind you, it needs to say target. We'll keep that. Destroy target enchantment. Never have I ever. Okay. I'm okay, Jack. I'm okay. You see all these blue cards? This is dictating some of my mood right now. Did we have Gamble? Gotta add Gamble. Gotta add all the tutors you can. Because you gotta get to the... The thing is, if we're really trying to play for mass land destruction and a value engine, which we're getting into now, you have to have all the tutors that can get you to the value engine or to get you to the mass land destruction or whatever you're trying to pull solution wise. So we're going to add Gamble. That's a definite must. It's okay that you're discarding it. And there's even some things that seem to synergy well with discard, right? Or at least, I mean, we looked at one here, right? And discard a card. Whenever you discard one or more cards, you can exile a card from your graveyard. So even if you discarded the gambled card, you can sort of play it again. So we've got Deafening Silence, great. Mystic Remora, great. Tectonic Reformation. Each land card in your hand has cycling. Yeah, it's not limited to mountains, so yeah, it's great. Mind you, it does cost red to do. Again, the mana base you'll need to sharpen after we've adjusted. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Of course, Arcane Laboratory. Was that printed before Rule of Law? Did Blue do it first? I don't give a shit. Astral Drift. Okay, so this is a seemingly interesting card. Let's see if I can get it to pull up. Whenever you cycle Astral Drift or cycle another card while Astral Drift is on the battlefield, you may exile a target creature. If you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Oh, wow. So this is good with like mass destruction, right? That's kind of cool. And or any creature that has a valuable ETB. Did we have Direfleet Daredevil? I don't know. That's pretty good with that too. Exile your demonic tutor, find something of value. That seems like a good play. Whenever you cycle a card, you may remove target. This is exactly the same thing as Astral Drift. I just want to confirm that is at end of turn, right? So that's the important bit. You can't really combo with this necessarily. It's sort of shitty, like Feather, right? You're sort of stuck in a situation where you're waiting for the thing to occur, which is fine. Gavi Land Destroy sounds spicy. I think it will be. Back to basics. Non-basic lands, yeah, cool. I like it. Did we have that many basics? Hold up. I'm gonna take out back to basics. I don't think we're that cute. I don't think we can be that cute. Blood Moon, though, if it's in your hand and you've got the fetch lands, then you'll likely tutor up the appropriate lands, and you can get away with only so much red in this list because red is the smallest part of our pie. Here's what I'm going to say to this: if this is not the best list for Blood Moon, right off the bat I can say that. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. That's weird. Reconnaissance mission. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. I get that it has cycling. We don't have that many creatures. Are we just... Is it because of the cats? We're leaving it. All right. Decree of Silence. We're really just going to look at the cycling. When you cycle Decree of Silence, you may counter target spell. That seems good, right? It's like... and mind you, you can cycle at instant speed, right? You can cycle... Because it's an activated ability, it gets around all of these rule of law effects, which we might add more of, because I feel like we're missing a few rule of laws. I think the rule of laws are best for this list. It seems to be wanting to go slow. Muldrifter is not cEDH, but this isn't cEDH necessarily. I don't like Muldrifter. I don't like Muldrifter. I'm sorry. We're taking it out. When Cloud Blazer enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. Does it have flash? Get out of here. Get out of here, Cloud Blazer. I get why, right? Because if you have one of these things, like the Astral Drift, the Astral Slide, you get to do the thing. But there's so many easier ways to do the thing. You don't need a 2/2 flyer to do that, especially if we start adding in, like, mass creature destruction. Something as much as a freaking Pyroclasm will knock her out of the air, and that's not good value either. I think we're getting our draw in the wrong places here. So we'll adjust this. Elish Norn, is there a great way to put Elish Norn down? We're trying to destroy all the lands. I know we're trying to buff our creatures at that, but I feel like there's better anthems. I like Elish Norn. Don't get me wrong. I like her a whole lot, but there's got to be better anthems for this list. And let's just pretend that the rest of these creatures make sense in my mind. Creature tokens you control have flying and vigilance. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah. Why not? We're going for cats, right? I can buckle to Force CMC of Aven Wind Guide. Yeah, that seems good. Afara with tokens seems good. Our Chaomancer lets you get back cycle effects, and you can continuously do this with the Astral cards. So, sure. Even Mind Sensor, Eidolon of Rhetoric. I think we should put in the other Either Sworn Canonist. Again, Magus of the Moon. This is not the form of stacks we should be using here. Nimble Obstructionist, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. When you cycle Nimble Obstructionist, counter target activated or triggered ability you don't control. So that's kind of cute for the Thassa's Oracle of the world, and it looks like we're not trying to go for Thassa here, so that's cool too. All right, we've got a lot to add, so let's start now. 15 minutes, come on, come on. I really thought 40 minutes would be adequate, and we're actually going to extend this part of the video a good 5 minutes because I'm sure I rambled in the beginning, and it would be only fair, right? It would only be fair. Pretty sure there is a way to hard lock with Decree, so either we play Solemnity or take out Decree. Solemnity is like you can't put counters on things. Wait, we're talking about Decree of Silence. Counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. Players can't get counters. We're going to look at the decrees. I'm assuming you mean Decree of Silence. You could also add Silence, and with Archaeomancer, so worst case, if you have to blink it. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Permanent Silence. Yeah, Archaeomancer is pretty sweet. Archaeomancer, man, wouldn't it be great to have an Eternal Witness in this list? You also have Anarchist, which gets you sorcery speed spells. And I guess if we had sorcery speed spells with cycling, it would be good. So Decree of Annihilation. Excuse me. What was it? It was Decree of Silence. When you cycle Decree of Silence, you counter target spell. Oh, yeah. So we are saying that you would do this you would do this. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, counter that spell and put a depletion counter on Decree of Silence. Oh, that's cute. Throw 3 or more. Damn. I mean, I really don't think we're going to hard cast Decree of Silence. I think it's predominantly there for the cycling. However, I do think if we got to a state where we could play Solemnity and Decree of Silence, that's pretty good. But mind you, I don't think that's the main goal. Does that also hit you? Hold up. Whatever, an opponent? Okay. So that's kind of hard to accomplish in my earnest opinion. And is Solemnity aiding us in any other way? Not really, right? I mean, I guess we can make combos for it, but you can't put counters on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. I don't think this affects us. Like, I didn't see any depletion lands or anything of that nature. Players can't get counters. Okay, you stop the one Golgari list that's trying to do like a, poison you to death kind of strategy. That's cute. You almost never will, and Solemnity is kind of dead draw. Yeah, it feels dead. Hi, Flumpoor. I just got here. I'm only here for the discussion on Scarab God, Quirky Dragon. Hold tight. Hold on to your dragon's horns, because we're getting there, baby. We're getting there. Okay, so I'm with you on Solemnity. I get the combo now. I don't think that Decree of Silence is in there necessarily for its ability to counter people out. I don't think. So in case we're wrong and that this is new news to David, maybe David will be watching this and be like, oh shit, that's exactly what I want to do. Then of course, David, add Solemnity. But we're just going to look up draw. We're going to look up draw cards because I took a lot of card draw out of the list there with the Mole Drifter and whatnot. So let's just reinsert some card draw to this list. And I mean, I already know I want to add Brainstorm, right? Am I wrong? Is Brainstorm a bad card? Is there a moment where you don't play Brainstorm when you're in blue? Just correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like every blue list plays this. And y'all can actually help me out with any of the counters I might have missed, because I wasn't necessarily looking for that form of interaction. I was more in tune with the core cards that we wanted for this, right? So Ravages of War, that seems important. There's also the enchantment that destroys lands. There's also a white enchantment, I believe, that destroys lands. We'll look at mass land destruction after this, but let's look up the draw cards. Brainstorm can hide cards, so it's pretty solid. Yeah. Luminous Broodmoth. If we want to add Luminous Broodmoth, yes. It's pretty so-so. You're going to all the fetches. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Ancestral Recall. Why doesn't anyone play this? This is sorcery, so no. Although, damn, anything that says, I don't know, are we trying to make cats or are we trying to make cats? Because I would Faithless Looting, yes. And you got to get that good art, that new art from Strixhaven. So we're going to put Faithless Looting in here, obviously. This is such an obvious choice. Oh shit, it already selected it for me. Okay, putting that right in there. A little present for you when you wake up. Okay, so there we added 3 cards. We need to add 11 more. We haven't fooled with the land base, but I see everyone going crazy here. Fall of the Thran is a white saga that destroys lands. There are more solutions for that as well. If you're going to run all the fetches, it's good, but often Ponder or Preordain is better. Ponder or Preordain? I guess we'll see them in a second, right? Ponder. Well, mind you, Ponder's sorcery speed. So what's nice about Brainstorm is the fact that it lets us make a cat off turn. I never thought I would... a dinosaur cat. I never thought I would be playing for dinosaur cats, but here we are. And we've got Ponder. I don't think I saw Ponder in the list, but I do think it is worth adding. Because in my mind, and David, if you're watching this again, the cycling cards are really cute, but we do need to bear in mind that Gavi needs to be down for them to be of any value. Now, we're condensing the number of cycling cards we have in this list, but we're only leaving it to the impactful ones. Is that bad? Not necessarily. The top half of Gavi is one element to her, but if we're really focused on creating dinosaur cats, we want to draw the shit out of this list. So all of these draw cards are going to help us find the valuable cyclers, and on top of that, let us make cats. So I really do want to just focus on this for a hot second. So go ahead and let me know what other draw effects I'm missing. As a matter of fact, damn, I kind of want to add Careful Study, but we're not on Underworld Breach, so it's not great to have a filled graveyard. I'm only putting Faithless Looting in there because I love Faithless Looting. But I want to find some more instant speed ways to draw through the list. Okay? Are we okay on that? I mean, Sensei's Divining Top's kind of cute because it's also card quality, and coupled with a cycler off turn will let us make a cat. You got to think like a dinosaur cat, right? You got to think like a dinosaur cat here. So Sensei's Divining Top, is that in here? Should we add it? I don't think so. If you're playing for dinosaur cats, I feel like we can run Elish Norn. No, she's too damned expensive, okay? Not here. We'll add in a thing that's, what is it, Metallic Mimic? What are the ones that also buff? Enters the battlefield, name a creature type. We will say dinosaur cat, although we can only pick one subtype. We will say both. And then, only then, will we go for the sweet, sweet buffs that we want. I get that Elish Norn also annihilates our opponent's board states. But no. Oh, I said Ether Sworn Canonist, right? And any other stacks pieces you can think of that are of value. Draw a card. If a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, draw 3 cards instead. This feels like it's playable. I feel like, why isn't this played more? I mean, 1 for 1 is kind of shit, right? I get that. But with all of the breach strategies that are constantly played for, I feel like that's not bad. We're going to add Gitaxian Probe here. Gitaxian Probe? Is that how you spell Gitaxian Probe? Okay, yeah, we'll add Gitaxian Probe. It's just good value. You'll understand what you can do more of in a turn by researching someone's hand. And of course, it also just gives you the draw. So that coupled with a cycler, yada, yada, yada. Target player mills 2 cards, draw a card. Not good enough. Yeah, and if there are any other draw cards, let me know. Visions of Beyond in a list that wants to actively discard. Whirlpool Warrior. Whirlpool Warrior, you say? Discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. That seems good, right? What? Oh, wait. Desperate Ravings? Okay, we're not that desperate, though. I think we've sort of hit the threshold of potentially useful cards. Someone suggested Ponder and what else? Preordain? Was Preordain not in the list? And you know me, I've seen Preordain cast a handful of times, but I don't care. No, draw a card. Not good enough. Sorcery speed? Shit, we'll add it. Okay, so Preordain. This is going to give us the cat we so desperately need. Gotta win the game with those cats. Okay, so we've got 86, and we need to add 14. We've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I think it's better already? Potentially. We're going to test this. We're going to at least play 2 games to see if this works out. Was Hull Breacher not in here? Well, we got to fix that. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, if we're going to add valuable stacks pieces, make that one of them. I think that makes sense. Now, we're saying Whirlpool Warrior. I feel like I've seen this dude. Whirlpool Rider. Ooh, the Warrior. Okay. Enters the battlefield, shuffle the... 3 CMC. Shuffle the cards from your hand into your library, then draw that many cards. That's kind of cool. Okay. Each player shuffles the cards from his or her hand into his... I really like the disruption. So maybe. Whirlpool was kind of a meme. I get that, but I don't hate it. Yeah, exactly. Right? Whirlpool Narset makes total sense. I mean, if we're on Narset, right? Are we playing? I mean, we can't run Notion Thief, but we have Narset and Hull Breacher. We're not on any wheels in this list. But if we do prioritize these Planeswalkers, then maybe there's some value there. And let's look up whenever discard really quick. Because I do think that we should try to evaluate these cards if the list is, in fact, trying to cycle. Gavi, baby, if you're trying to cycle, we should probably add a few synergies for that shit. So, where was I? Baral, Chief of Compliance. No, it's not going to happen. Not today, buddy. Not today. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, bleh. Not immediately seeing anything of value. My eyes are trying to trace to the permanence that makes sense. Whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard a card, the anti-wheel. I actually really like Spiritual Focus, but probably not. Whenever you kick a card, whenever you kick a player, Dak Faden. Shit. Wait, Dak Faden. Oh shit. If there was one list that wanted to play Dak Faden, because if I'm trying to if I'm destroying your lands and making dinosaur cats, I'm going to steal your artifacts next. Also, we make cats with Dak Faden. Dak Faden, comma, the cat wrangler. Bet you didn't know about that shit. Hold up. Stop. The cycling is free, but we can also make drakes. I don't know if Drake Haven. How many tokens do we want? We're trying to win the game with tokens, right? Is that what we discussed? So look, if we do that, then I mean, yes, Drake Haven kind of makes sense, but also you can add Luminarch Ascension, right? 4/4 Flying Angels are pretty freaking great, and no one's really going to be targeting you for attacks early on, at least, until you put Luminarch Ascension down. Because if there's a list that's running black, they're likely going to swing at that person. We'll ignore that for now. But whenever you discard a card, Glenhorn Buccaneer deals 1 damage to. Okay. Nope. I can't help but feel there's some enchantments to add value to this. Surely Drake Cates would be better than Dino Cats. Oh yeah, probably just because they're flying, right? Lang is a really cool card. Library of Lang is a really cool card. Is that what we're talking about? Ariel the Everwise. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards for the first time each turn, draw that many cards. Riel. For each instant sorcery card. What? Yes. Yes, Riel. Yes. Go, girl. Draw make the cats, girl. Look at her. Doesn't Riel look like a woman that enjoys a cat or two? She does. I know cat people. I have 2 cats. I'm not just saying that because. But yeah, she looks like she enjoys a cat. Whenever a player discards a card, could be you. If you do, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Shit. Well, I mean, I feel like the Dino Cats are the main priority. Oh. I feel like the Dino Cats are the main priority, but hold the press. We should also look over the artifact ramp we're missing. It's just easier for me to look over it as we have the sort of top down of the list. So we'll do that. I just want to see if there's anything else. God, I can't believe it. No. There's got to be whenever cycle enchantment. I know that there's other value pieces. I just was not seeing them. So that or whenever discard. Lightning Rift. Whenever a player cycles a card, you may pay 1 if you do. Does 2 damage to any target. So to me, this feels better than the cycling to deal damage. But then you need it. So this is just an addition. That's not so bad for 2 mana. Is there a way to infinitely cycle that I'm missing? Because if there's like a infinite cycle Archaeomancer Gavi Blink strategy, then this is kind of a win. Mind you, the thing needs to make mana while we're doing it. It doesn't seem feasible. If there is, though, let me know. Holy shit, how did we miss Shark Typhoon? Well, if it's free, we don't get to pay for X, right? Damn. It's one of my favorite cards, by the way. A blue card, I know. Whenever you cycle a card, you may have Reptilian Reflector. Well, that is the king of all dinosaurs, isn't it? A little too memey, I think. But, you know, it's there. Okay, let's take a gand at the artifact ramp we're missing. We can add Felwar Stone. We can add the other talisman. We can add probably all the 2 CMC rocks. Am I wrong? She's 5 mana. Do we even have rituals in here? Do we have like the Desperate Ritual and all that stuff? And you know why that's even plausible is because she's too generic, right? So like if I was going to play Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual into her, it's not bad. Like if the goal is to get her down quickly, also bearing in mind that you know, a lot of these mass destruction are 4 CMC, but they're also 3 generic in the cost. So Desperate Ritual is not bad, right? We can cast Armageddon with a Desperate Ritual and a Plains. And we do need white resources to accomplish that. So we should probably add the white-red talisman. Okay. Yeah. So let's add some rituals to get the ball rolling on this scheme a little bit more quickly. I think, if anything, Jessica's Will might be a bridge too far, but let's do Rite of Flame. Let's stick to the 2 CMC ones because our slots are low. Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual. We need to add 2 more cards. I know I said Talisman and Felwar Stone. So let's just do Talisman, Boros, Conviction. All right. Was that not in there? Madness. Okay. Talisman of Conviction and Felwar Stone. So this should be... Oh, shit. No. Did I do it? Desperate Ritual? Okay. We'll fix this. We'll fix you. That should be it, though. Okay. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. That's a pretty gas card. Works well with Decree of Silence. I agree. Let's see if that's in the mana base. New Perspective. Let you cycle for free, but it's 6 mana. New Perspectives. I think I know what you're talking about. It's a blue card, right? Yeah. Okay. And you make a cat! As long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may... So this is really... Wait. As long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may pay 0 rather than paying the cycling cost of cards. You have that with Tectonic Reformation, right? Tectonic Reformation. All your lands... Galaxy Brain, assist me. No, there's nothing. Okay. We'll avoid it. Now let's go check this shit out. I don't know if we need Mana Vault. Oh, we're missing a card. Guys, there's room. There's room to spare. Okay. So let's just see what we need. We'll add it, and we'll go from there. Faithless Looting, because... It's a little bit of mass destruction. Kill all of our cats, right? Makes sense. Oh, I wanted to add Meltdown, didn't I? I did want to add a Meltdown. You'll just try to get it off before you cast one of these, ideally, right? But we've got Dak Faden. We'll get it back. We'll get any artifacts we missed. Let's just add Meltdown. Go from there. See what happens. Did Library of Lang go in? So no, I get why, but Library of Lang, if I'm not mistaken, give me 1 second. Okay, if an effect causes you to discard a card, and how do these cyclers read? Give me 1 second to look at this shit. Not Deafening Silence. No, I don't want to look at these pointless lists. Hold up. I need one that has the rules explanation of cycling on it. Oh my god. Cycling MTG. Is the discard part of the cost, or is the discard part of the effect? Cycling cost. Discard this card. Draw a card. Library of Lang doesn't work, guys. Stop suggesting it. It has to be after the colon, right? So if it's part of the cost, that payment isn't an effect. So it doesn't work with Library of Lang. It might say that down here. Meltdown. Let me just add Meltdown, and we'll move on with our lives. Gamble. Let's add Gamble. And I would actually, to David, just because we're not trying to play as quick as the other boys or girls at our table, doesn't mean we shouldn't have all the tutors. We've got a game plan too. Boil, like the Boiling Sea, or what is it? The one instant speed card that destroys all the islands? We could. Gavi. Right at 650, we're going to switch list, okay? That's as much patience as I have for Gavi. Is this a keepable hand? No. It's not. Slow as shit. It has interaction. Remotely keepable. This is bad, isn't it? This is pretty bad. I mean, I know I'm going to Faithless Looting that. and probably the Sweltering Sun. We're going to try to look for a hand that has some form of ramp to get us going. This is a little bit better, and Vidalcan Aethermage lets us get our, if we wizard cycle, our Chaomancer is a wizard. As a matter of fact, this wouldn't be a bad list for Dualcaster Mage either, right? Because you can win a game with Dualcaster Mage. Yeah, Reforge the Soul could be gas. There's no wheels in this list. Let's keep this, though. Let's keep this hand. Oh, damn. It just gets better. Okay, so we're going to play the Plateau. Because, you know. We'll play this. I will get rid of... I don't know the wizards in the list to say whether this is valuable or not. We'll do that, and we'll put this down. Okay, cool. Next turn. How close are we to the girl? We need 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Oh, damn it, was so close. All right, so I kind of want to save Brainstorm for when we have Gavi down. It's not like we have any cyclers in this hand, but we can use our Chaomancer to get it back. I know that seems lame. We're just going to hold here, bearing in mind that Chrome Mox is blue. Engine, that's kind of cool. And then put 2 of them back on top of my library. Well, that sucks. I really want to use this Mox Diamond, but it's fruitless. Of the cards, let's pretend I don't need this because I don't need that. And then we'll just draw the land. That's fine. All right, cool. Oh my God, I just hull breached you. Bam, I made 2 treasures. I don't know what you did, but I stopped it. No, you did your own Brainstorm. Okay, cool. Haha, haha, the table loves me. I have Hull Breacher in play. All right, so we've got 3 treasures because, and we're gonna go from here and cast Gavi. Now remember, we drew a card per turn. So we'll do blue, we'll filter a generic to get red, blue, and then we'll use this for a white, and then we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. I'm using a treasure here and not playing this land because I just want to see what I draw off. Gitaxian Probe, so I'm going to hit you. I draw a card. Is that cool with everyone? Cool. Oh no, I already knew I was getting freaking Astral Drift. At any rate, doesn't matter. I make a cat, more importantly, right? So Dinosaur Cat. This is turn 3. Little bit of stacks. Not a lot of hope. We've maybe got Red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast. Those aren't in the list. Okay. They're a little bit more situational than other cards, and if this list is primed to play at a more high-powered or lower level, then you probably don't need Red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast, but you may still want a Swords to Plowshare. So we probably want to add that if that's not in the list, or like Path to Exile in the list, right? Something to do with that white mana, or the Silence, which we've mentioned earlier as well. We can add Silence, but there's a lot more fine tuning for this. I feel like a lot of the skinny, like low CMC cards that we could have added, there's just a checklist we can go through and take out some of the things that are of higher mana value that aren't going to work as well for us. But we have Gavi. I think it's weird to do this, but I think it might be better to bounce the Astral Slide or get rid of the Astral Slide and like use that to protect Hull Breacher, presumably, right? Unfortunately, this doesn't give us the draw we so desperately need to make another cat. But we'll do this off turn. Let's pretend we needed that to save Hull Breacher, right? Because that's how this functions. It returns at the under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, so that the player's turn that we used it off of. Cool. And we'll draw a card. Cool. All right. Let's go from here. Jeweled Lotus, where were you earlier? Okay. So we're in an okay spot. This isn't great. I want more dinosaur cats to be swinging, ideally. And I definitely want to do more with... Man, what's weird is like I feel like the Brainstorm's the best thing to get here. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, I got treasures. 4. Whatever. 1, 2, 3. Let's just use all the treasures. Doesn't matter. I'm going to forget they're there. We're going to grab the Brainstorm here and we'll cast that Brainstorm. It's been cast. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll put 2 back on top. We're going to put this... Yeah, I might as well... I want to cycle this off turn or something, but we make a dinosaur cat doing this. But you get the story. What I'm really trying to do is pull into... I don't need this. And I'll keep this, and I want to cast this, but it's so unnecessary, the amount of mana we're getting from that. Whatever. We probably want to Mox Diamond the islands, but we're going to stop this test run here. That's turn 4. It's not bad. We technically would need to go down to 6 if we mulled the number of times we did there. But I just want to start off with a hand that seemed somewhat reasonable, you know, like a decent keep. I think this list is fine. I think it certainly could probably use some lower CMC interaction from turn to turn. I think our mana base might need to be tweaked with the revisements I've added here. That doesn't mean the list is bad, though. Is Sunder any good because it bounces your lands? I don't know about that. Still feel like Reforged the Soul could be, yep, we've gone over this, right? And except Archaeomancer is in the hand. Yeah, Archaeomancer. It would be really cool to bounce Archaeomancer with the Astral Drifts, right? I think that's sort of the thing you want to mainline here. But this seems fine. 92% competitive. Can't argue with that. Okay. 652. Giving this next list 40 minutes. And that is Scarab God. So if you're only tuning in for Scarab God, well then, here it is. Last note on Gavi and the cats. More land destruction wherever you can get it. Only the valuable cyclers, more low CMC forms of interaction, likely a revised counter suite, like more countermeasures and more removal, right? So that's the low CMC interaction suite that we were talking about. I think we've added, probably add the signets as well, like all of the signets. We've have all the talismans, but again, if you're trying to destroy all the lands, the more artifacts you have, the better. And that's why we were kind of humoring Dak Faden, but I don't think it's bad with that strategy in mind. The Scarab God, 653. 3, Dimir, 5 CMC, mana value total. Legendary creature, God, 5/5 body. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. Well, guess what? The boy makes zombies. How, you ask? 2, Dimir. Exile target creature card from a graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. When Scarab God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Well, guess what? The die functionally works. So it will die, it will go to the graveyard, and you can just put it back into your hands. So you always got it. You're always going to skirt around the casting costs of your commander in this particular list because of that function. Mind you, it doesn't work with exile. Right? So what is the main goal here? Well, with any list that's trying to play cEDH and is in blue, it's Thassa's Oracle, right? That's in this list somewhere. There it is. We have Laboratory Maniac seemingly for backup. We don't have Jace, which is arguably better than Laboratory Maniac in my earnest opinion, despite the fact that the Scarab God functions with creatures only. Does not Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. Does he not let you draw cards? Well, I'm going to say Jace is better. I might want to try to incorporate Jace here instead, and a separate strategy using Dread Return. I've thought about all these lists prior to doing this. I haven't revised them all, is the thing. Okay. You missed Gavi, Eris, but because of how the live streams I've set up work, you can just rewind it live. So if you want to watch it, you can. And yes, Trent, you're here for me dismantling your Scarab God list. So again, I should start with that quote, actually. This is from Trent himself. I'd like to see your take on Scarab God and how it would be different from what I use for another perspective. So we're molding this around the bones that have already been established by Trent, because a lot of what's already here is probably what I would encourage using. However, I am going to remove a handful of pieces to make way for a separate strategy, because I do think that what the issue is here is when you do this deck, Narcomoeba, I mean, it's in a separate language though. Is it not spelt Narc? Amoeba. I want to use Narcomoeba because I've always wanted to use Narcomoeba in a list, but you'll see why in a second. So when you're doing this particular strategy, if you guys don't know, and I'm going to assume you likely do, but I'll read it off anyways. So if you have Miramad Phantasm with our boy Scarab God, you would bring this back from your graveyard. The idea would be to entomb this, right? And then pending that you have the right amount of mana, you would entomb this. You would use Scarab God to bring this back. You have a 4/4 token of this. Is that better than a 5/5? Some would argue no, but it's a flyer. You don't care about any of this. You pay 2. Mirror Phantasm's owner shuffles it into his or her library. Because it's a token copy of the card, you would functionally still have to do that, but as a state-based action, it doesn't exist in your deck. If that player does, he or she reveals cards from the top of their library until a card named Mirror Phantasm is revealed. Well, it's 99 card singleton, no chance of that. The player puts the card onto the battlefield and all other cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard. Now, mind you, with the Scarab God, it's part of not the cost, but the effect of the ability. So you get to exile Thassa's Oracle and then create a token copy of it. So this will enter the battlefield, do the trigger, you win the game, right? But because of this effect, I was thinking that would be fun to add a Narcomoeba Dread Return line. You do obviously need another creature outside of Scarab God for this to function well as a backup, but I do like the fact that you can do this at sorcery speed. We might even want to add Emergent Zone to make this more playable, which is already in the list. Okay, so what would be cool is if we had a way to cast this for its flashback cost of sacrificing 3 creatures at instant speed, which you could do pending an Emergence Zone. And if you were to do that, you can put Scarab God's ability on the stack and be like, well, I want to exile this Thassa's Oracle. And everyone's like, no, you can't do that. Someone tries to stop you. They have something to counter your activated ability. That's fine. You can Dread Return in response. Or you can just use Dread Return in a mass mill strategy to bring it back. There's that. Mind you, though, you need 3 creatures. So I wanted to add a Dread Return shell here because I like it. But Narcomoeba, Mirror Mad, and then, well, Mirror Mad would get shuffled in. It would have to be Scarab God, Narcomoeba, and one of these fine 11 creatures, which we could probably add more value creatures. We'll see. So for this particular build, there are wheels involved, as many wheels as you can get. So like you see the Dark Deal there. There's likely a Time Twister, or we could put it in the list. I know, namely, that, well, okay, so I don't think Trent wants to add proxies and doesn't own a Time Twister, so if that's a fact. Also, the simple fact that Time Twister puts your graveyard back into your library, right? So is that really offensive for what you're trying to do? I don't necessarily think so. I would say that Time Twister is a good add here because it works really well in tandem with the Notion Thief and the Hull Breachers of the world, right? I don't know if it's instant speed as a flashback. You can put whatever cards in the list. I don't know if it's instant speed as a flashback. I think it is. I could be wrong, but I do want to add Dread Return anyways, just as a backup line with the Narcomoeba and because Scarab God being on the battlefield, that's you need a lot of mana for this to work. Okay, so just to do the math, it's going to be at least 4 plus 2 plus another 4. So that's 10 mana total, right? And I think you use things to reduce the cost, right? Training Ground. I don't think there's anything else that will reduce the activated abilities cost, but that's a lot of mana unless you have Training Grounds on the battlefield, which we might be able to... I don't know if there's tutors for enchantments in Dimir, but there's certainly good tutors in Dimir. So let's just see what we want to remove and then move on from there. I think that's the main thing. If you're wheeling, add Turgid. Yeah, Turgid wouldn't be bad value. I think that a Time Twister would be good here. It's just very good against Underworld Breach strategies. Like, you see a lot of early wheels. And all those early wheels, the Misfortunes, Wheel of Fortunes, they help to fuel that strategy moving forward. And it's not very good for you as the player to let someone go off with that, right? So someone's popping off with all those cards. You're in a bad spot. So let's go ahead and look over what's here. Each player discards his or her hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. So this is sort of like an odd wheel. It's 4 CMC as opposed to 3, which is your average for a wheel, but that's okay. Then you may exile the spell card and code it on a creature you control. Well, that's likely going to be Scarab God in most instances. There's only 11 creatures in the deck to include Scarab God, so... But do mind you, you can use Scarab God's ability on any graveyard, so you can technically cipher this onto anything, I guess. Whenever that... It's a lot of mana. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player, its controller may cast a copy of the encoded spell. Well... I mean, I'm going to put this to the side for now just for Time Twister. I understand its purpose in the list, and it is a decent Dimir wheel, but things like Dark Deal are going to do the same trick for us. Each player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws them many cards -1. So if you had 6, you have 5, right? That makes sense. Let's go ahead. Buried Alive is fine. Is there a Buried Alive line I'm not seeing here? Buried Alive just seems like you're sort of plucking out value creatures to put down with Scarab God, which is fine. If I were going to do a Buried Alive pile, I might want to leave it to, I don't know. Buried Alive piles are safe for the most part. I think Buried Alive is fine here. It's just expensive. It's tricky because it's obviously not as good as an Entomb is here, which are we missing Entomb? Or not missing necessarily, but I would add Entomb to this package, right? I mean, you're in black, so if you have Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pack, right, you might as well Entomb the thing. This sort of reduces the cost of the whole strategy. Personal Tutor's fine here. Even if Personal Tutor just hit like your Demonic Tutor, it is what it is. I think that's fine. I always over-evaluate, I feel, low CMC tutors if they have any number of decent targets, and all of these are very good. You know, all of your wheels in this instance are going to be sorcery speed. Mnemonic Betrayal, exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. So you may cast those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast those spells. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exile, return to the owner's graveyard. Exile Mnemonic Betrayal. So this is like a cute pseudo win condition in certain instances. You can mass mill your opponents, right? I don't think we have... if for some reason, the way I've seen Mnemonic Betrayal played, if for some reason your personal win conditions are gone, but you are able to functionally, during an Underworld Breach line of play, brain freeze all of your opponents, you can use Mnemonic Betrayal, to take their win conditions. But in the same, you know, in the same game, you can also just be using Praetor's Grasp for that same strategy, right? Mind you, that's the main thing I've seen with Mnemonic Betrayal. If you're wondering, you know, why people would use this in cEDH, it's just very good in tandem with mass milling, put all your shit in the grave, and then I exile your entire library for myself to play. So even if I didn't have a win condition that played in line with what I'm trying to do, which is Thassa's Oracle here, if you win with Kiki Jiki Zealous Conscripts and I've made infinite mana with like an Underworld Breach line, I would use Mnemonic Betrayal. Here, it just seems like odd value. I'm not saying it's great. I don't think it's great. I think Praetor's Grasp is going to do the same thing you want, so we can take that out. Exactly. If you're wheeling, add Turgrid, and I read that. I don't know if I'm going to add Turgrid to this, but it's cute. No particular pile for it, but it's another Entomb. Yeah, I don't see Entomb though. Maybe this copied incorrectly, or am I just missing it here? We're going to add, oh, it's this freaking, it's this. Okay. it's there. Okay. So we've got Ponder, we've got Preordain, we've got all the little draw cards you would want. Cool. I don't know if there's a particular land that comes to mind that's super valuable for this list, but the other issue here is that we're trying to rely on Tainted Pack, so we're not going to add too many utilities that are off color. And I think what we have here is likely good. Cephalid Coliseum is really nice because it lets you win with Laboratory Maniac, right? If I can get it to pop up for you. Duh, Gunblade, this is still going. All right. Draw 3 cards. Okay, target player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards from his or her hand. Okay, super cute. Obviously, this works well with like the Hull Breach of the World and Ocean Thieves of the World. This also works very well on killing people that are trying to win with Thassa's Oracle. If they somehow forget that this is in your land base, well, shame on them. Okay. And we should take out all the tutors. Not tutors. We should take out all the counters because I don't want Trent countering any more of my shit. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Oh, that's such a good Gavi card. Oh, good. Yeah, Gunblade. Yes. So this is going to be going on for, I said 2 hours, but we're clearly going over time. We started at 6:53. I have so many, you guys don't know this. I have so many product videos to shoot that I'm never going to get to if this lasts all night. So I gotta pick up the pace here, clearly. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards and tap 3 lands. This is fine. It's sort of like free value, right? You can sort of like fuel your graveyard for the non-Underworld Breach loop, but you can put stuff in your graveyard to use with your boy Scarab God. And obviously, if you have lands that tap for excess mana, then you're making mana in this sense. You're on Ancient Tomb. You might want to be on City of Traders. Yeah. I would be on City of Traders. Personally, I like City of Traders a lot. Not that many people run it, but it's good. I think it's very good. Gaia Reach Sanitarium, also really good in this list because of what it does for you. Just want to look over the land base again there. I think the instants are fine. I'm not really sure what kind of fine-tuning we can do here, but I'm going to go over Limbs of Vault. All of these are sort of bread and butter cards in the cEDH setting, right? Pongify, Stubborn Denial, though. Let me give this a gander. Is this the one that's like ferocious? Yeah, okay. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. Obviously, with Scarab God out, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, counter that spell instead. Mind you, it's still non-creature. That doesn't mean you can cheat what it's doing. But Scarab God's a 5/5, and anything you make is going to be a 4/4. So it is reaching that threshold. Otherwise, it's just a Mana Tithe, a lesser Mana Tithe. It's still fine. Okay. Necropotence, these all make perfect sense. I don't think you need to change the makeup of your enchantments. Sphinx, it's so much cheaper to do this than to cast that. But in certain instances, you can just cast that. If you got a City of Traders, you can cast it that much sooner. We're going to add City of Traders. I think your land base is probably fine at 29, but we're going to get rid of this shit. And then we're going to add a City of Traders. Yeah. Man, I would rather have Tarnished Citadel, kind of. You care about your life. No, we'll keep the Clearwater Path or whatever it is. Yeah. All right, we're going to add City of Traders after this. And we have a couple slots to add cards to. Creatures. It's kind of an important bit. So, the Scarab God, again, functionally works with other players' creatures. So, we're going to try to manipulate that as much as we can, but getting Scarab God down first is a core goal here. Obviously, laying down minor pieces of stacks that don't harm us is another goal. We can probably even add tax spells. Well, we have Damping Sphere here, but tax stacks is what I was trying to say. I don't know how much more we want to add beyond this, and these are all pretty low CMC and nice for the deck. But the thing I wanted to look up was Search Library Enchantment, just to see if there's anything in Dimir. I don't think so, but I was wrong. Yeah, we're not going to do that. I mean, you really want to prioritize Training Ground, but there's not a great way to get to it. It's either you have it or you don't have it, and whatever. If you don't have it. We could probably add the Medallion to reduce the cost of our entire deck, right? And maybe Sapphire Medallion was in here before, but mind you, Sapphire Medallion would be pretty solid. I mean, you need to look at what it's hitting. But more importantly, it helps you get to Scarab God in much the same way one of these 2 CMC rocks do, except it's permanent, right? The only thing it really doesn't functionally help is Thassa's Oracle. And with the strategy we illustrated earlier, you're trying to cheat out Thassa's Oracle with Scarab God. I mean, unless you can manually assemble it, right? So we're probably going to want to add that. Yeah. I don't know. I think Sapphire Medallion would be pretty tight here. There's only so many black cards we're missing. What, Cabal Ritual, Tainted Pact, Ad Nauseam obviously being a big one. Yeah. I want to add Time Twister. I want to add Sapphire Medallion. And I want to add City of Traders. So I know those are the 3 cards that are likely going in. And with the rest of this makeup, I don't feel like you need Laboratory Maniac. I mean, we talked about Mnemonic Betrayal before, but we're not on Brain Freeze, and we don't have a great way to go. People are off Yawgmoth's Will. That would be how you storm traditionally, and there are loops you can set up with Razaketh, but that's such a sub theme for this particular list. I don't think it makes sense. So we're not going to do that. And we're not in red, which is sort of the king of storm now with Underworld Breach. So the Mnemonic Betrayal didn't make sense. I think we're fine to take that out, but I don't want to leave in Lab Maniac. It's just not as efficient and or as good as Thassa's Oracle. Yet we are missing the ability to win provided Thassa's Oracle gets removed. Outside of beating people with 4/4 zombies, which is a thing, but not an all too real thing. Again, we could add Jace as the other card, but this is more effective for this list. I get that. And you just need an ability to draw, which you do have. I just don't feel like the Laboratory Maniac's a useful redundancy. If anything, though, you would want a Praetor's Grasp. My only qualm with Praetor's Grasp is the fact that if you Praetor's Grasp someone and they don't have the solution you need, you're not in a good spot. And otherwise, you're not winning. Yeah, you're not winning. Damn it. That's sort of a gross inclusion. It's fine. It's fine. If it's just a backup to Thassa's Oracle, it's fine enough. It's also a zombie for a scry effect. I had the zombie that reduces blue cost like Medallion, but someone told me to take it. Oh, yeah, there is a zombie. Let's just look at cost less really quickly to see if we can find any of the reducers. We're not going to use things like Heartless Summon or anything like that, but if it's a rounded effect like Sapphire Medallion, I think that makes sense. Like Blood Funnel is really cute. Non-creature spells cost 2 less to cast. But mind you, there's more to get this to work than you would normally like. Sometimes this sacrifice a creature effect can be very beneficial for a list, especially if it's something that has like Protean Hulk in it. Doing this is functionally really beneficial to get the ball rolling on your strategy, but no one plays for Blood Funnel. Don't listen to me. Let's go and look at that creature. Is it 2 CMC or 3 CMC? That's what he is. Blue and red spells. Yes, it has Regenerate. Can this list run Intuition piles? Likely not. The only issue with Intuition is that the magic formula for it right now. Intuition is not a good tutor. Let's just start there. Intuition was made useful by the addition of Sevinne's Reclamation, right? So you would be able to get Sevinne's Reclamation, Underworld Breach, and Lion's Eye Diamond. That's the major line of play. 2 colors that we don't have in this list. Is Intuition in here? No, we took that out, right? I hate Intuition. If the best thing Intuition does, and generally speaking, outside of that, Intuition, the cute thing to do would be to get all your free counter spells so that you have some form of interaction. But if your game is just stopping someone else's game, it's not very good. I think it's got to have more of an effect on the game. So we're not going to add Intuition here in case you're wondering. To the person that asked that question. Thales. So I like Nightscape Familiar. I like Sapphire Medallion more. It's easier to put down. So if I were to turn 1 City of Traders, I can put down Sapphire Medallion immediately. Nightscape Familiar is cute, but I don't think anyone's going to be trying to target your Sapphire Medallion. Unless it gets caught up in sort of mass artifact destruction, I find that it's a better card. And while this does have Regenerate, again, if this is being targeted, interesting. But if it gets hit with something like a Pyroclasm and you have to do this, you're also putting yourself down the mana. So think of how many times you're actually going to want to regenerate this. Likely not many. And the Familiars, they don't have to touch on both of the colors that they reduce, but it does feel odd. Like, it's not necessary for what it's doing. I do like the fact that it's a zombie, though. Again, the first ability on the Scarab God cares about zombies, but I don't think we care enough about that to let it be a deciding factor. And I guess we could add Isochron Scepter as a potential win condition here, right? If you were to make... Hold up. I want to remove Laboratory Maniac as a redundancy because I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But the there's nothing that really plays well with what you have here, right? Like we can't add any sort of line, a meaningful line of play that's incorporating cards that you already have here, such as Isochron Scepter, Dramatic Reversal. Like making infinite mana in this list is good, mind you, is good, because Scarab God can just exile all the things, right? But man, if you did Dramatic Reversal, okay, so if you did Dramatic Reversal Isochron Scepter and you had Brain Freeze in here for some reason, because you're not really storming off, you could do the infinite cast and then Brain Freeze everyone, right, to mill them out, and then I guess insult to injury at that point, exile any sort of value creatures that they would have used to win the game. That doesn't stop everyone, but anyone with a creature-based strategy will have effectively lost. And I mean, even if they had like, with how, what is that card? I know it's just in their graveyard. Yeah, that's kind of cute. I don't know. We don't need to add Isochron Scepter though, and that's not really what we're looking at here. At any rate, Sapphire Medallion. I want to add that. And I think other than that, we've got all the right rocks here. This makes sense. Let's just fine tune this and play it for a second and see what we've got, see what we want to remove and what we want to add. Chuck in a Cirque. Chuck in a Cirque. Is that how you spell Cirque? Okay. Whenever you play blue spell, remove the top card of target library from the game. Oh, I see. Whenever you play black spell, remove the top card of something. Your opponents can't play non-land cards with the same name as a card removed from the game with Cirque Lobotomist. Okay. I get it. Hey, Mikhail. It's going well. How's everyone doing, by the way? Did everyone have a fun pre-release? I think pre-releases are still happening if your local game store is allowing pre-releases at the moment. Not just City, but the one where traders are. And then we're going to add City of Traders. What did I say we're going to add? We're going to add Sapphire Medallion. And we're going to add Time Twister. Only because we're on a sub-wheel package. And I do think that this is better than the other wheel, although we can add the other wheel provided we'd like. Oddly enough, this list feels as tuned as need be. I think that the Dread Return Dream is still good, mind you, because it reduces the cost of the thing you're trying to do, but it does put you in an awkward position, right? And because it's sorcery speed, it's likely the strategy you would push for first. And it can technically be a backup if you have 3 creatures to sacrifice while casting it. But you still want to have your Scarab God on the field, because if you fail on the Dread Return, you are going to need to use the activated ability on your boy Scarab God. Part of me feels like Dread Return would be cool, but it's like you're also trying to do ad nauseum, and it's a 4 CMC spell. 4 CMC spell otherwise. We should probably look at your mana curve really quick to see if ad nauseum is a super viable package, or are you just playing it for value, as the kids say. Is it easy to win a game off of ad nauseum in this list without a self-mill strategy? Probably not, right? When you ad nause, like, do you go big, or do you just go home? Just because we're in black doesn't mean we have to use ad nauseum, is what I'm getting at. I understand that that's sacrilege to some, but that is precisely how I feel, and I'll stand by that. Not bad, just got home from a long day of work. Nice. Ooh. Today has been really nice and really simple for me. This has actually been the part of my day I was most looking forward to, because this is relaxing. Let's play it. Because the inherent lines of play are very slow with Scarab God, I feel like we can probably, not going to keep this, push for more stacks. What those stacks might be, questionable. This hand is, you would never want to keep this. Oh, man. All right. Well, this feels good, doesn't it? All right, well, we'll keep this. Let's go ahead and play the Morphic Pool. Thank you for that. Let's start strong. We'll cast the Jeweled Lotus. We'll play the Morphic Pool of all these cards, only because it gives us the colors we need, and if someone else surprise wheels on top of us, well then, you know, we beat them to it. We can play our commander right now. Does that make sense? I think so. We're going to exile between Mystical Tutor and Frantic Search. I think we're going to exile this card, and then we'll go ahead and cast a Scarab God. Right? Bearing in mind, I'm just trying to find ideal hands, right, to give you all conceptually what you're looking for a starting 7. We would have to mulligan here, but I'm not going to bother with that process. If we did, I would get rid of one of these lands. I forget what we drew into. But yeah, one of the lands. All right, yeah, that's Scarab God. Cool. We got a 5/5 body. Oh, not a zombie himself, sadly. That would be really cool. Some kind of wheel thief combo straight up after an ad nauseum. Sometimes you just get consult. Yeah, I guess you would. Yeah. So if you run Dread Return, you would run Narcomoeba. Yeah. So I was thinking Narcomoeba would be cute here. Is it necessary? No. I do like the Dread Return line of play because it's a secondary line for your main combo. And again, it's the first one you would shoot for because it's virtually free. You just need to sacrifice 3 creatures, but this is a list with a low creature count and is reliant on Scarab God making creatures to sort of fill up the queue. But mind you, if you did Mirror Mad, what sucks is that you do Mirror Mad with Scarab God to activate it, but it gets shuffled in your library, right? So that's 1 creature gone from the line of play for Dread Return. So you need Scarab God, Narcomoeba, and something else, but then you're getting rid of Scarab God. So it kind of hurts. I initially wanted to do that, but I don't think it's going to work here. Let's draw. I guess I should have said, do we want a Mystical Tutor here? But in this instance, Mystical Tutor is just okay. We don't really have the mana sufficient to do an ad nauseum to get the value we're trying to shoot for here. Limdil's Vault would have been great to exile with Chrome Mox, but Limdil's Vault is actually a really good top deck draw. That might have even been the thing we Mystical Tutored. Who knows? We'll put down the Cephalid Coliseum to scare those would-be Thassa's Oracle players. We'll swing at someone, and then we'll cast this spell. And we'll hold mana. So I think, arguably, the Limduals would be best here, right? You would sort of just try to manually set up Thassa's Oracle now. Mind you, this hand is not very great for protecting ourselves. And we would probably just want to use this to get a countermeasure off the top of our turn if we were doing that, because we've got the mana sufficient to do, 1 Thassa, 2 Demonic Consultation, and then have mana, available for whatever countermeasure we grab. But we would Limduals here, I think, right? This was off turn. Did I save the mana for that? Whatever. We're Limdualing. We're Limdualing Vaults at the moment. So look at the top 5. Oh my god. This is gonna be torturous. Let's just pretend we want this. Oh, that's not even true. Again, we would probably go for, because now with our mana base we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is gonna give us black. This is gonna give us black. We can ad nauseum off turn. Oh my god, let's just make life so much easier. Let's just pretend we did Mystical Tutor, because that makes life easier, and we'll go for the ad nauseum, and then we can talk about the list, obviously. Where is it in the deck? Right there. Okay. Shuffle, put that on top. This is with a Mystical Tutor. Blue, we draw for turn. Ad naus, we already played the land. We would ideally... so we drew into Limdual's Vault there, and then I set up the Mystical Tutor play into ad nauseum, right? Is Mystical Tutor just blue spells? Hold up. No, it's not. Okay, cool. So everyone knows we have ad nauseum. That's not great. So with that knowledge in mind, what we would do here is, are they or aren't they tapped out? If they're tapped out, then we should just go for it at this point. If we fail, que sera. But that's honestly the best play. We don't really have the mana sufficient to do a Necropotence, which would be really great at filling our hands. At this point, we're really deficient in hand. There's not a great way to put down a Consecrated Sphinx, which is sort of this list bread and butter. Any list that can get down Con Sphinx easily is going to be in a good spot. I wouldn't shoot for anything else, really. I feel like ad nauseum is sort of just the power play. Let's just pretend that we needed to do it now, and then we'll draw however many cards we can draw. I don't think we fetched or did anything to affect our life total. People were likely swinging at us, and we can say that we're at 33 life, whatever. Say we're 33. On turn 3, I'll be a little bit more generous. Okay. 2, 3. my god, 2, 3. Let's just see. What's interesting here and what I want to see with this is how deep an ad nauseum actually goes in this deck. Right? Because ad nauseum for value, fine. But if you can win main phase ad nauseum, that's the real test to see if ad nauseum's good in the deck or not, right? Not to say that just playing it for value is bad, but holy crap, we just hit some high CMC cards. So it is 5, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14, 15, 18. Ooh, did we play our land already? Sorry, 19, 22, 23. Okay, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I'm not certain. Okay, so we said 31, right? We've got 5 life remaining at this point. We can hit Force of Will. I guess that's big enough for me to say that I don't want to die here. However, the only fast mana we received comes by way of this Mox Diamond. If I'm not mistaken, I played the Snowland this turn, right? That's how we set this up. Let's just get rid of the Gaia Reach Sanitarium. Shan't need that. Let's go ahead and do as much as we can with this hand we were given. Try to fill up this graveyard really quick. So we'll do a Dark Ritual. We're going to add 3 black. We'll use this other life total here. 3 black. We will do -1. Cast this Mana Vault. I'm trying to fill up the grave to where we can use Cabal Ritual for its threshold, but I'm not sure we're going to get there. There's really nothing we can do. Yeah, there's no I would try to set up a stupid line of play to fill up my graveyard. But, us discarding isn't the end of the world here because we put the Mirror Mat away and we can sort of use that knowledge to play into Scarab God, but we're not going to be able to do that right now. I don't see us going that far right now. What is the best thing to Demonic Tutor? This hand has neither Hull Breacher nor, it has 1 relevant wheel, right? I'm not seeing any immediate protection, and we only have black mana here. Yeah, let's just keep going. Why not? Okay. 2, -1 black. We go up 3. And we can use Demonic Tutor at this instance. I think we will. Just want to see what we have left in the list. Obviously, this isn't a great setup for us, just looking at the hand. We really want blue mana, which sadly we don't have. Even if I got a blue mana source, I can't do a Psych Rift to just say, F you, Cyclonic Rift, and just keep a decent hand for myself with some countermeasures. My voice sounds low. How about this? Does it sound low now? Does it sound low now? You can't tell, but the mic is about probably a foot away from my mouth. Okay. I play these back and it sounds fine. I would recommend you turn up your volume because it's tipping on if I look at the scale, it's actually tipping into the red. So maybe check your mic levels. Try that first. Your speaker levels. I don't see us going anywhere meaningful right now. So I'm just going to look for some shit to do with a Demonic Tutor. Not a winning turn. No, honestly, the best thing to do would just be to set up for the next turn. Thank you. Okay, so guys, I'm going to restart. Well, we need to move on to the next list, really. So, was that a good hand? Couldn't really tell. Okay. Scarab God is the main line of play here. I honestly feel like this is a mid-range list that should play for stacks. The meaningful stacks you could play would reasonably be your tax effects, anything that's going to tax the board. Mind you, we do run 1 that's decent, but there's just no way that this is going to be as competent as a list that is incorporating red and can very quickly storm off with the right amount of rituals and the right amount of Underworld Breach, right? It's not going to be able to move as quickly or as efficiently as a list that incorporates red. Dimir is fine, but it lacks in ritual power. You're really only looking at Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual, which conveniently we both had, but we were missing out on all of our fast mana. And I'm pretty sure that you have the entire suite of fast mana that you could be running here. Yeah. Right, to include your rocks, right? So, yeah, you know, Grim Monolith feels weird. Even if I Ad Nauseam to Grim Monolith there, I wouldn't have felt like I was in a great spot unless I had one of these signets or talismans. And Grim Monolith, if its sole purpose is to help put Scarab God down, then I guess that's it. But it's also, you're never going to untap that thing. I don't know. Yeah, keep Grim Monolith. I would probably eliminate just to make way for stacks. It's just going to go slower in that sense. Maybe like a Thorn of Amethyst, because you still want to play Scarab God. That's still like the main line of play here with Miramad. And Ad Nauseam didn't feel good then. It's not like it's going to be bad every single time, but I wasn't seeing immediate play lines. And looking at the list now, the Demonic Tutor, could it have been better? What would have been well suited for Demonic Tutor there? Arguably, because the hand lacked Thassa's Oracle, so like even discarding Thassa's Oracle, playing into it with Scarab God later, you would have held all the protection. I guess we would have grabbed Entomb and played it right then. Just to set up. If only to set up. Did we have it though? Wait, did I have it with... I had Scarab God down and I had 3 black and 1 generic floating. 3 black and 1 generic floating. I Entomb... No, because I didn't have sufficient mana to do the blue in this cost, right? And do Demonic Consultation, because that would have been 4 Entomb and DC, so that's 6 total. High Tide, because this is a tainted pact list, High Tide only works on islands. It only affects islands, so our island count is low. You could say that, well, we have both snow-covered island and plain, the regular old island. So at best, it would sort of ramp you for 3, right? I would recommend Cherish the Raging Isle. It's got to be the only card that says Cherish, right? Charisma? No, that's not what you're trying to say. The Raging Isle? I'm going to look it up. Adnos is probably not the best either. I'm not feeling Adnos here. Cherix. Your opponents can't cast... Suppose your opponents cast target Cherix, the Raging Isle. Cost 2 more to cast. Nah. I mean, you could. You definitely could play the Leviathan Crab. I don't know. Just pulling a lot of cards is fun though, right? So I would say Ad Nauseam's fine. But again, I genuinely don't play for these packages like Ad Nauseam unless I know I can win with it. Unless I know that I have a higher percentile chance of winning with it every single time I cast it, to include main phase 1 with no mana available, right? That's sort of the goal. Rakdos is really best for Ad Nauseam if you're going to narrow it down to 2 colors. Right? If you're going to look at 2 color pairings, Rakdos is the best because it has all of the fast mana to include rituals, right? Your Simian Spirit Guide, your name a card, you're going to get mana to do more things. That was also just a bad Ad Naus pile, so it can't really be the sole determiner of whether you should include Ad Nauseam or not, but I generally don't play for it unless I know it's of super value. In the hand we kept, we just ran out of cards immediately. There was no real draw potential there, so that kind of stank. And you can get stuck in those situations, and if your commander doesn't draw you cards, you're really in a rut. So I think the goal here is to play more stacks, taxing effects, and we can probably talk about that later. Let's say we'll talk about that later. 7:35. Oh, my Scarab Goddess. We're moving on to a boy and his disc. Okay, we've got Nevinyrral here. Cherix. Okay. All right, how's everyone doing? Did I feel... Trent, if you're still watching, did that hopefully conclude Scarab God? You've got it really tweaked to a point. And the only thing you could have hopefully had better was a better Ad Naus in that particular instance. But it's weird because you want to prioritize getting Scarab God down and then shooting for Miramad Phantasm. But then remember that in this world, the best lines of play to get to Mirrorman Phantasm are Entomb and You're Buried Alive, right? There's really nothing else so far as creature tutors are concerned. That put them right where you need them. That's tricky. And even still, like, it may sometimes just be better to just Entomb Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, and I can understand keeping Laboratory Maniac because someone may very well just use Praetor's Grasp on you to take your Thassa's Oracle, so having it there is good. I think the things to fine-tune would be probably some of the card quality effects for stacks, because in essence, if you run more stacks and you're slowing the game down, you're going to be drawing more solutions as you go along, so you don't need as many card quality cards like the one that says draw 2, discard 2, untap lands, or whatever it was. That feels okay. That feels just okay. But that's a sort of card quality effect you can likely cut. Anyway. I'm agreeing with your points. I don't know what stacks I would want to add. Yeah, it's just, I do think it's more of a mid-range commander, and I do think it should rely on stacks being in Dimir. But the stacks you're looking at might be, I hate to say it, but I mean, again, it's got to be the taxing ones, or the things that make things come into play tapped. As odd as that sounds, it affects your Hull Breacher, but if you had like Orb of Dreams making everything come into play tapped, it shuts down the dockside lines of play, right? Because all of their treasures are coming into play tapped. I also like effects like Thorn of Amethyst, Fear of Resistance. I like Trinity Sphere quite a lot in this list because you're using an activated ability to do the trick. So even if your Entomb was 3 mana, that's okay. Do it off turn. Your ability is still 4 to activate. Or, you know, Lord looking out for you, you got Training Grounds down, then your ability is 2, right? So it's a little bit easier to accomplish. And even if your DC was 3 mana, it's not the end of the world because you're not really relying on that many casts to do the trick. But anything that can stop a storm. So Trinity Sphere, you already have the Damping Sphere. I think that would be the right route to go. I don't know my blue hate bears that well, but I don't think there are that many great ones outside of Hull Breacher that are arguably good for cEDH. Okay, 738. Nevinyrral. I was checking in with you guys. How are you all doing? Are you still with me? Urborg Tyrant. Have you heard of this guy? You might have seen his disc, but you might not have seen this guy from Commander Legends because I certainly didn't mention him. Very, very weird, odd value setup with this guy. But for mana value of 6, legendary creature, zombie wizard, 3/6 body, hexproof from artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. How funny is that? Whenever Nev, Urborg Tyrant, enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each creature that died this turn. This list is going to be very hard for me to explain, but I will try my best. When Nev dies, you may pay 1. When you do, destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. So this sort of feeds into your second ability. But you can do infinite ETB, creatures, and then provided you have a useful sack outlet, killed the board, right? So if you have something like Phyrexian, here's the strategy. If you have something like Phyrexian, what's it called? Phyrexian Altar. Jesus. Sacrifice a creature. Add 1 mana of any color in your mana pool. So the dots are somewhat connecting here. You'll need to have had six creatures die this turn. Let's just pretend that Nev is out. Nev is out. You have the altar. 6 creatures need to die this turn. And then you would want to cast Nev into this. It is so cost prohibitive. Okay, let me try to set up the perfect scenario here, because I had to look this up. It's very difficult to do. So he costs 6 to cast. You do something to kill a bunch of creatures. Cool. 6 creatures enter the battlefield with Nev. They're all zombies. So you sacrifice the 6 creatures. That's 6 mana with your Phyrexian Altar. Okay, 6 mana. Nevinyrral, you kill Nev. Okay, cool. That's 7 mana. And then Nev now costs 8. So you need an additional mana. But when you cast Nevinyrral again, right, you use the 7 you made from the 6 creatures in Nev. You cast Nev again, tapping whatever. Then you make 6 more zombies. You make, okay, so it was 6 initially, but then you just killed 7 things. Now you make 13 zombies because it doesn't care whether the creatures were tokens or not, right? So long as a creature died this turn. Oh my god. So you do that, and then you're going to make an excess of zombies. That was... Oh my god. Cool. Okay, so that's the idea. That's the goal. You're not really using Nev for the bottom ability unless that's crucial in you making zombies to start up the line of play. This is a lot of work. This seems like a whole lot of work, but we're going to try to make it happen. Here's my Nev list. I don't think it needs a complete overhaul, but curious what some might think it's lacking. So, Nettlesome. I suggested Gravecrawler off the bat because to me that's the quickest way to do Nevinyrral. And Nev, because if you loop your Gravecrawler with Nev on the field, because Nev happens to be a freaking zombie, with Phyrexian Altar, that will create the creature death trigger for him to make infinite zombies. All right, so that was actually already added before I ever got to this, so you're welcome. However, we're going to look over some lines of play here. Oh my god. Delver, so it's basically food chain. Yeah, it's basically like a food chain list. You could say that. Oh god, did this deck just crash? All the lists, by the way, all the lists should be in the description of this video. So if you want to follow along with the revisements, you can do so there. If you haven't caught on, if you weren't here at the beginning of this video. Let's go ahead and start with our sorceries, and then we'll move on from there. I'll take that out right now. Peer into the Abyss. Hold up. Peer into the Abyss. Are we really getting to peer into the Abyss? Are we really getting to peer into the Abyss? Yeah, Prosh, I got you. I guess so, except the creatures are tapped. So like, it's just, this is a difficult list to make function. Let's just start there. Can we point at the elephant in the room? The elephant's name is Nevinyrral, and it's very difficult to make this work. Maybe someone's figured it out and I'm just a complete stooge, but I see this as being very difficult to work out. I don't think that this is going to be very easy to do. Creature or planeswalker. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. These are the best ones. Blood Artists and Zulaport Cutthroat. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control. You only need so many of those redundancies. I said we're going to start with sorceries. Look, if you're going to use Peer into the Abyss, you've got to have all the rituals for it, right? To like get into it easily. So I mean Cabal Ritual. I mean Dark Ritual, which we do have. White provides jack shit for any strategy. So we're not really going to consider any white cards here. And High Tide might be a possibility, but I'm willing to bet we're on a mana base that is most likely for Thassa's Oracle. Oh my god. Wait, we've got a Tainted Pact mana base. We've got a Tainted Pact mana base without Thassa's Oracle. Do we have Demonic Consultation in here too? No, okay, we're not going that hard. But we've got the Tainted Pact as a tutor, specifically, and Intuition. And what is the Intuition pile here? I'm probably going to cut the Intuition immediately. I'm willing to bet there's no pile. Okay. Chime in if you've played Nevinyrral and you have a basic idea of how Nevinyrral functions. After my amazing explanation, let me know what you would do. But I don't see us casting Peer into the Abyss very easily here, right? I mean, I would use something like Culling Ritual. No, not Culling Ritual. Culling the Weak. Okay. Not Culling the Weak. Damn it. Burnt Offering. I can't use Burnt Offering. Damn. This guy is not good. You can't use Metamorph. Yeah, there's no... Okay, cool. Let's just cut some cards. Let's just focus on cutting cards here. I don't see a necessary need for Sevinne's Reclamation in this particular list. What permanent are we trying to bring back that's 3 CMC or under? Phyrexian Altar? Damn, if we lose Phyrexian Altar, that's the end of the world, isn't it? Wow. Is it just there for that? I guess you can bring back your Mystic Remora. I'll leave it for now. Time Twister, Windfall, Cool, Wheels. You're going to fuel the decks that are trying to move arguably quicker. And there's going to be suffer some because I'm not really seeing any ways to bring these lists down. Plum Forbidden instead of Pier. Yeah, see, now, if you guys don't know what Plum is, this card is good because it kills things, right? Plum, it's cute. It's almost like a worse Village Rites, but better in some instances because you could have multiple creatures to sacrifice. Oh, yeah, you know what? With the Gravecrawler loop that I advised for this list, yeah, we can put those in instead. Only because I feel like Gravecrawler is going to be easier to accomplish than having Nev do anything. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think we're going to do Nev. Nev is not a very serious part of this strategy for me. I almost want to just rely on, I would say... So my only qualm here is that, yes, while Gravecrawler does function with Wayward Servant and Corpse Knight, right? Let's pretend that we want to do Nevinyrral equally with Gravecrawler. Although Gravecrawler is easier. I do find that having, if not Blood Artist, it's got to be one of these two. Okay, so we're going to keep Blood Artist and the Wayward Servant because we need an outlet, but we only need two. We're not going to add more than that. Anything more than that's crazy talk. But Blood Artist works really well with Lean and Relic Warder and Animate Dead, which is arguably a better combo to shoot for, right? If we're trying to make this accelerate and do a thing, I could see us burying, like entombing that setup for ourselves, right? So, did I take Intuition out already? Yeah, you don't need that. I want to add Lean and Relic Warder and Animate Dead. I want to add Animate Dead. There's not that many creatures that we care about here, but mind you, we can bring back creatures from anyone's graveyard, and that seems pretty good to me too. It's better than Blood Artist because the zombie keyword. The only one I will argue with is... we'll do this one. Whoops. I'm only going to want to keep Corpse Knight because it works in both strategies, and Corpse Knight also consequently works with Gravecrawler. I agree with that. But yes, moving on. Trophy Mage. 3 CMC thing, we all know what that is. If we want to make infinite mana, that's a good way to do it. Get out the sorcery spells. Savine's Reclamation, it almost feels like a must, but not necessarily. If you were going to do Intuition Pile here, your Intuition Pile looks like Savine's Reclamation, Phyrexian Altar, and what? I don't know what the third card is, but it's probably the card they're going to give you. I guess you would get a Mana Vault to play your Savine's Reclamation from the graveyard, right? Because this card costs 5 to do. Rough times. Rough times. All right. I don't like it. I don't like Savine's Reclamation here, but we'll keep it. Transmute Artifact. Search through your... I want to read the errata text on that because I don't remember. Transmute Artifact. I don't know what that does. Is it good? No one ever plays it. We'll find out. Sacrifice an artifact. Oh, yeah. It's this card. The card's value is less than or equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield. If it's greater, you may pay X, where X is the difference. This is really cute. And you can, use your mana rock before firing this off, whatever. Yeah, okay. I get it. Super important. That's probably the only artifact tutor we're using here, other than the... Okay. Yeah, cool. You could Yawgmoth's Will here, but I'm not sure it's necessary either. If you're using a question mark at the end of Yawgmoth's Will, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do that. The only thing is it's another way to recover your Phyrexian. I like Yawgmoth's Will better than I like Savine's Reclamation. Is the Intuition Pile Yawgmoth's Will, Savine's Reclamation, and Phyrexian Altar? God. Well, okay then. I guess I like Yawgmoth's Will better than Savine's Reclamation. I'll state that. I don't think I want to run Intuition, so I don't equally want to run Savine's Reclamation. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the Alchemist will let you cast anything from your graveyard. Mind you, it gets exiled if it's an instant or sorcery or whatever. If it would be anything would be put into your graveyard at the end of this turn, you're screwed. I'm not a big fan of this intuition pile. It's very costly. I understand that we're trying to necessitate this, like make it happen as quickly as possible, but this list is going to be inherently slow because our commander 6 CMC, and that strategy is not really going to fly as quickly. So we're going to remove that for now. Intuition's cute with lists that have a cheaper combo, especially if that combo is letting you do LED, right? Can't do it. Can't do it here. I think our instants look pretty solid. I mean, this looks like a really solid instant base. There's nothing I would want to change or add that I'm immediately noticing outside of maybe the Cabal ritual. That's it. I would add Cabal ritual, right? And we've got 6 cards eliminated from this list, so there are more things to add. I do think that we can narrow down these redundancies. Was Cruel Celebrant a zombie as well or something like that? No. Okay. Okay, gang. Should we put Aven Mind Sensor in this list? I want to say yes. I'm going to do search library cards in these colors to see if there's any sort of redundant tutor effect we can add. But as a matter of fact, hold up. That is not what I wanted. Here. I'm not looking for you, sir. Not looking for you. Would personal tutor be any good here? Probably not, right? Personal tutor lets you hit that transmute artifact. Personal tutor lets you hit those wheels. I would probably add personal tutor. What? Corpse Connoisseur? Is that the thing that entombs for you? I think Corpse Connoisseur is the thing that entombs, the creature that does it. Yeah. Okay. So again, instants are all great. Everything up to this point is great. Again, Cabal Ritual, personal tutor, just off the top of my head, and these seem fine. These are sack outlets that have little meaning or value to the list, right? If you're just trying to get the death count going on your boy Gravecrawler, this is just okay. Scrying infinitely until you find the solution, and then using a spell to draw is good, right? But otherwise, I'm not really fond of the Carrion Feeder. Right now, the only death loop that we're accomplishing is Gravecrawler, but personally speaking, we can use the death loop of Lean and Relic Warder to do the thing with Nevinyrral if that's what we're really trying to do, and or that coupled with our Corpse Knight or a Blood Artist is going to do the job for us as well, right? But do we have Entomb? No, I guess we can run Entomb, can't we? And some reanimate spells, because there are some really decent creatures here to reanimate. I mean, outside of our win conditions, obviously, right? Yeah, we're gonna definitely add Entomb. Okay, so I know I want to add Entomb. Let's just do that now. I will forget these. So Cabal Ritual, Entomb, and what was the last card I mentioned? Please tell me. This is really just testing to see if you guys are still following. Cabal Ritual, Entomb, personal tutor. Gravebreak Lamia. Gravebreaker Lamia. I kind of remember what she does, but she's like 5 CMC, right? Personal tutor. Any tutor that you can get your hands on that helps. Okay. I don't need Cataran summons yet. Scheming Symmetry. Are we on Mystical Tutor? I'm not remembering if I saw that or not. No. We're not on Mystical Tutor. Am I wrong? Does not every list that incorporates blue want a Mystical Tutor? I'm going to add it here. Victimize is cool. Victimize is the one that brings back something from your graveyard as well, right? Buried Alive is fine. My only qualm with Buried Alive is that Buried Alive doesn't have a great pile here. I mean, if you just want to put down... If you buried alive... Okay, if you were to bury alive your Leonin Relic Warder, your one of your Corpse Knight, whatever, and your Grave Crawler, there's no need for this. But you buried alive that, and then you make infinite mana with your Phyrexian Altar with an animate spell, right? Infinite mana with the animate spell and Leonin Relic Warder, and then you animate dead your Corpse Knight, and then you can cast with the infinite mana you've just generated your Grave Crawler to win the game. And that mana, damn, you need Buried Alive and Phyrexian Altar, but that works, right, with an animate spell. I had Buried Alive just because. Have to think really hard here, but I think it makes sense. She expensive. Brings back 2 for 1. Let me look at the Victimize really quick. As a matter of fact, I think we'll hit it if we're going here. Let me just look at Victimize really quick for the audience at home and for myself, because I don't remember Victimize. Choose 2 creature cards in your graveyard. Cost 3. Sacrifice a creature, then return. There's really no A plus B combo there. I'm good without the Victimize. I would rather have Animate Auras if I'm being honest. So we'll go ahead and look at some Animate Auras. I know I want Animate Dead. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? All right, what other tutors are we missing that we could potentially be using? Let's find out. We've gotten really the good ones with... Do we have Diabolic Intent? Do we have Diabolic Intent? We could probably run Diabolic Intent, but mind you, is our creature count high enough? Just adding a lot of tutors is what we're doing. I'm not certain our creature count is high enough to warrant Diabolic Intent. Now, what's kind of cute is that Pyre of Heroes will sacrifice a zombie made by Nevinyrral to find Gravecrawler. Probably not going to use that, though. I mean, Mausoleum Secrets is okay here as well, right? If we just want to get Gravecrawler, you just need to hit an undergrowth of 1 creature. It's really this. That's really the big one. And Personal Tutor can help us get that. We've established this already. And are we on Wishclaw Talisman? Wishclaw Talisman might be better for this list over the Diabolic Intent. Okay. We only have the 1 Animate Aura, but I feel like we can add at least 1 more Animate Aura. I understand bringing back 2 things from the graveyard, though, is kind of cool with the Victimize, but I don't think it's necessary. You would really just want to animate like your Corpse Knight and or the, what do we keep? The Blood Artist, right? One of those 2, and then set up the animate loop with Leonin Relic Warder. So at least 1 more. At least 1 more Animate Aura. Let's just add Dance of the Dead. I know Necromancy exists. I don't care for Necromancy. Beseech. We're on Ad Nauseam still, right? I'm sure this list has Ad Nauseam in it. Beseech the Queen is very expensive, so we're not going to add Beseech the Queen. I like it, though. My throat is so dry. Okay. Now that I'm looking at this, I need to cut 1 more spell, and then it's playable, right? Damn it. I need to have a wider look at it. We just added a bunch of tutors. I think the tutors are going to help get the redundancies. Okay, so instead of using the Corpse Knight with the Blood Artist, and then adding the Zulaport Cutthroat and the Cruel or Celebrant or whatever her name was, and the other thing that was a zombie, which was really cool and functions really well with this list. And if you're trying to stay on theme or on flavor, then I would keep the whatever this guy's name is. Whatever his name is. Wayward Servant. However, I do think that adding the tutors relevant to this strategy are better redundancies to keep in this list. Let's go ahead and nix a card and then test this deck out. I could be wrong though. I have not played this list. So Mox Opal is really only in here because of the Adnos? Really? Like, because you can play this is like one of the weaker rocks to include, right? I almost feel like I can evaluate your Signet Talisman combo more highly than I will the Mox Opal, but let's just pretend we want Mox Opal. And mind you, I mean, we were only at 16 artifacts until a second ago, right? That's probably the thing I'm going to cut. We have Ephemerate in here, right? Okay, we got to switch the art on this Ephemerate. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. We got to use this Ephemerate. If we're playing for Ephemerate, we've got to use the right Ephemerate. Okay. Oh, God. Look at this beautiful card. All right. I guess whenever I played an Aristocrat in white-black, I always did Rival Arc Karmic Guide combo, so I love to victimize. I get that. I do think that Leonin Relic Warder in Orzhov is the best A+B combo if you're looking for death and enter the battlefield triggers. Nothing functions quite as well and is as efficient as Leonin Relic Warder / Animate Dead. If you guys don't know how the combo works, hopefully we can illustrate it in a second. I fucking hate this card. I'll get rid of Grand Abolisher and I'll put Mox Opal back in. Sorry. I just realized that piece of shit was in this deck. Are you not in blue? Are you so worried about your turn that you need to run Grand Abolisher? Sorry, this is nothing against Nettlesome. This is against everyone that runs Grand Abolisher. I have a foil copy for sale. If you need it. I'm very serious. Audience, let me know. I'll sign it, and I'll throw it into a shredder for you afterwards. Because you don't need to play it. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. This Ephemerate's the best. But yeah, apparently the art was mixed up with some of the Strixhaven archival cards. I had no idea. At least with the Japanese versions of the cards. I don't know how they went to print that way. But the art on Ephemerate was not meant to be this is not the art that's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be Memory Lapse art. But it is so good. I just bought a copy. Am I using it in any list? No. No, I'm not. I will, though, soon. I run it in Heliod? I bet you do. Okay. Almost playable. But not really. We had Intuition, but not all of those other tutors. Nettlesome. All right, we'll keep this. It's not horrible, but it's not great. Does that make sense? We'll do that. We'll do this. We'll do this. And we'll put down a Corpse Knight. Yeah, we'll put down a Corpse Knight. Why not? Okay. We really need another tutor. Got all the fast mana in the world. We can almost make Nevinyrral happen soon, actually. But we're not. Of the creatures that we can grab, there's not very many I like. As a matter of fact, we can make Nevinyrral happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So close. Hold up. No, never mind. Okay. We're going to search our library for a creature card, as well as swing at someone. But whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. So, bam, take that into account. Recruiter of the Guard, baby. And I don't remember everything in this list, so we're going to have to look at the creatures in a separate window. Got it in Kemba, but that... Oh, yeah. So, Nothing's wrong with Ephemerate. It's actually really good protection if you're relying on a creature-based strategy. Also the fact that, no! Wow, perfect timing. Okay, cool. Yeah, we are technically overtime. Thanks, guys, for hanging with me. This is all for the Brewmasters. It's truly for the Brewmasters. I hope any of this dialogue helped you, though. At least see where I come from when it comes to deck building. I don't know how useful this is. But let me know what legendary or pair of legendaries you would like to see next. I have a ton of ideas, and I'm trying to refrain from building on my own time because I would just build everything. But I've got some ideas I want to introduce. But let me know what legendaries or legendary you'd like to see on a cold brew, and we'll make that happen. Also, did you like the thumbnail for this video? Or the cold brews? Let me know. Okay, so we've got not that many great creature choices. Probably a Dark Confidant here. Am I wrong? God. Mind you, we get anything. No, Trophy Mage. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Trophy Mage. Okay. Watch this, guys. It's going to be great. It's going to be so good. Okay, so Trophy Mage, right? It's defensive 2 or less. Oh my god. Oh my god, we're about to live the dream. Oh, if I only had the foresight, I could have used Cabal Ritual in the middle of this to entomb the Gravecrawler. If I only had the foresight. Let's just pretend that I did know how this list works perfectly, because I, of course, made it in under 30 minutes, revised it at least. So let's do that. Let's do this. We're going to do Cabal Ritual. We've got 3 black. We're still going to do the same thing here. Okay, let's just get this out of the way now. We're going to spend 2 black to do our girl, Recruiter of the Guard. And then we'll use the last remaining black to cast... Oh god, this puts us in a really shitty position though. I just want it... you can see where I'm going with this. I want to grab Gravecrawler. Whatever. Okay. Graveyard. All right. So, now, the only unfortunate bit is Trophy Mage doesn't put the thing onto the battlefield for us. So... Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I saved Cabal Ritual for here, I wouldn't have had that swamp technically, but if I saved Cabal Ritual for here, Cabal Ritual 3 black, 5 mana. Oh, this is not enough. It was never going to be enough. We'll cast the Gravecrawler, whatever, and we'll cast her. You can see what I'm trying to do. This is a very, 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 very hard manual setup, but yeah, there you go. Tutor for another tutor to the Phyrexian Altar in hand. Let's just pretend I'm holding a counter. Is it a useful counter? No. There's no free counter here that's good for me. This is Zombie Storm, yes. I made a Nev deck that was a Secret God Pharaoh's Gift deck. That's probably the best choice. If you guys don't know what God Pharaoh's Gift is, it's actually really dope. Your opponents lose life based on like tapped creatures. Hopefully that's enough to find it. Throne of the God Pharaoh is what I'm talking about. But yeah, you can use God Pharaoh's Gift here. God, I haven't used God Pharaoh's Gift ever, actually. But Throne of the God Pharaoh, this is what I was talking about. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures you control. Sure, that might be better for Nev. But that's it. That's what I was trying to do. Because with Phyrexian Altar, Gravecrawler, Corpse Knight, wham bam, thank you ma'am, I just won the game. This was a lot of talking in 2 hours. Oh my god. All right, so I hope that these alterations help these lists flourish. I would like to think that tutors are always good, so I put as many tutors as I could into this list. And I think that it's super slow. It's super slow at its strategy, and white adds nothing to the equation ever. So, unless it's Enlightened Tutor or Savines in certain intuition piles. So it's almost like the same position as our previous list, Scarab God, was, right? So because Nevinyrral is so costly, and we are trying to make Nevinyrral a meaningful part of the combo line, it almost feels unnecessary to ever play Nevinyrral. It really does. I would rather play for Gravecrawler and or Lean and Relic Warder loops. Yeah, almost always. I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't. And I mean, there's other loops you can run with sack outlets. Like you can do like Boonweaver Giant with, you can run Boonweaver Giant with your auras that bring creatures back, like Gift of Immortality, or better yet, the one that has the girl on it, Kaya's ghost form. The girl, right? So Boonweaver Giant, Kaya's ghost form. If you have this with Boonweaver and a sack altar that has a meaningful effect, right? You can also engage the Nevinyrral line of play if you want. So there's plenty to do. And, you know, Gunblade also mentioned another loop that kills creatures, brings them back. Oh my gosh. I hope that helped, though. So it's very slow. I would also recommend playing all the control magic you can, all of the stacks you can, maybe reducing the amount of card quality cards to sort of just have a better package for a mid-range strategy. But that's it. Gang, I'd like to do, as I do with all my videos, but in this one in particular, thank you for joining me on this episode of Brewmasters. I hope it was fun for everyone viewing this. It was a doozy. This is a lot to consume in 2 hours, or even just a little over 2 hours. But as I do with all these videos, I like to thank my Patreon members. And again, especially the Brewmasters. You guys are the best. You really do make all my dreams come true. But no, you guys are helping out the channel so much. So obviously having a functional episode for you all is the best. And I really do hope that this did help you decide on how you want to pilot these lists and obviously construct and or refine them moving forward. But to all of my Patreon members, thank you guys so much. You guys are such a big help. This whole channel is made possible by you. And obviously just your viewership, guys. Everyone who tunes in weekly, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The Brewmaster segment is going to be continuous for the channel. It's going to happen once a week and likely the third Tuesday, or rather the second to last Tuesday of every month. And I've got another subset of lists that I'll be looking at moving into next month. And obviously there will be more in the future, especially when new sets release. But again, my name is Patrick Marlette, and happy brewing, babies.